welcome everybody. So today we're going to be talking about overwhelm and how to launch a coaching program mindfully and without overwhelm. And I think you know how when we feel like we have a million things going on, especially when we are launching a coaching practice, it's our normal job, right? Coaching people, doing what we do. And then we're adding a complete launch on top of that. So it can get to that feeling of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like everything is top priority. Oh my goodness, I have so much to do. So if that sounds familiar, you are absolutely in the right spot. And I'm glad that you are here because I'm going to be sharing a lot of tips. So have a notebook out so you can write this down for how to manage overwhelm, because it is absolutely something that we can get rid of with mindfulness, awareness. And you can use this during your next launch, but you can also do this just every day for work and life. And I know I have been through, I can't even tell you how many frustrating moments. And I continue to learn a little bit each time I launch, each time I grow. And I realize how when I'm coming to my launches with my full love and my compassion and my true authentic self and not feeling stressed and overwhelmed, that it feels so nice. And also more people want to work with me because they're actually seeing my true self. So if you're just coming in, come into the comments and I want you to share with the group. How do you feel when you are overwhelmed? What are your behaviors? So do you feel like you have a short fuse? Do you feel irritated? Do you have a headache, nausea? Are you focused or are you unfocused? Do you go into self-doubt, these false stories? Do you have a lot of confidence when you're in overwhelm, or do you lack confidence? Are you truly mindful? Are you in that present moment? A lot of times when we're in overwhelm, we are sitting in the future, right? So I also want to hear, like, how well are these behaviors working for you? When you're feeling overwhelmed, are you feeling frozen, stuck? You just don't know what to do. You're like paralyzed with exactly where you are. I think that is the words that I hear so often, is that I just feel stuck and overwhelmed. And I don't want that to happen to you, because there are so many people who are waiting for us. They're waiting for us to put ourselves out there. So, thank you so much. Lots of people are tuning in. Yeah, scattered, like I can't work, where to start, how to move forward. Oh my goodness, we are going to be talking about that. It feels exhausting. Of course, yes. Think about, you have all these emotions going on in your head. Your head is full. That takes up so much energy. So how are you supposed to focus on your next task when you have all this stuff going on that is completely exhausting? Hi, Diane. Oh, lots of comments. Okay, lack of confidence. Absolutely. When we're in overwhelm and we can't get work done, we are going to have that self-doubt. Yeah, she says, you know me well. Yes. Let me just go into Facebook and see if there's any comments here. Okay, and keep coming in with any comments as we come in, because I want to hear from you, and let's talk about what's really going on. So I think we all know, as health coaches, we know it's not healthy to be in a state of overwhelm, to feel that pressure, but all the things that we have to get done, right? It's going into uncertainty. I know when I feel overwhelmed, I just am like, oh my goodness, I have to make these decisions. I feel uncertain. And also when we're in overwhelm and we feel all that stress, it absolutely is going to impact our health. And it's going to severely limit our ability to focus mindfully to actually get things done and have a successful business. So we have to address mindfulness. We have to address being stuck, and we have to talk about mindfulness and how that can be part of your day, your work day, your launches. So again, a lot of times I hear people say, I feel stuck. I feel paralyzed. I just want to quit, and I just don't want to do my launch, right? Or you just feel like there's so much to do, I don't even know where to start. Our brain, it doesn't like to multitask. I've thought for most of my life that I'm the multitasking queen. but I am not. I realize that it is not, does not do my body well, because what happens is that when we're multitasking and we get overwhelmed, it triggers an emotional response. So our body, what is in the caveman days, it's stressed. So what do? We want to stop. We want to just shut down. So we tend to want to withdraw. We want to protect ourselves, right? When we feel stress. So we go into that fight and flight. And this is just triggered by this overload in our brain. And our brain gets in our own way of doing our best work. Just come into the comments, Facebook or Zoom, and just give me a fat yes. Have you ever gotten in your own way of your best work? Oh my goodness, I could say yes, 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 if I had like 20 hands right now. And I hear that from so many of the coaches that I work with in workshops and academy, that's what we do, these weekly group calls that everyone gets to talk and be group coached, because you are not going to get in your own way anymore. You are going to find that way out. And so much of it is getting out of overwhelm. I sometimes go into this frantic state where I just feel like I have to do everything. And if this is you, let me know. Have you ever gotten to this frantic state where you actually completely exhaust yourself? Yes, that is not sustainable. We all know that. Maybe every now and then, but I don't want to have one night of being up till 3 a.m, getting something done. And I've done that. I know it's not my best work at 3 a.m. So when we talk about like, how do we feel when we're overwhelmed and we're saying all these things that irritated, we're not feeling focused, we feel self-doubt and lack of confidence, we're in the future, and these are not working for us. So the problem here is that our brain fills up. It fills up with worry, fills up with self-doubt, fills up with all this false information and just all the regular information, right? So being overwhelmed is just having a full brain. That's all it is. We have emails, we have texts, we have Instagram, we have mom taxi duties, we have soccer games, we have cooking. Oh my goodness, the news, I really have had to stay away from the news in the last 14 months, right? We have had so many emotional things happen in our world. So the pandemic, the racial injustice, the politics, everything. So all of that is information that overwhelms us. So it's important for us to know what overwhelm is and what you can do to get rid of it. So I just see some more people joining in. So welcome. You are in the right spot. So mindfulness. A lot of you are familiar with mindfulness. It's just accepting what is. It's accepting what is without resistance, without any kind of judgment. So in the case of overwhelm, it's about accepting our thoughts and our feelings. That too much, right? While actively letting go of thoughts and trying to change or fix anything. So, and it can be really tricky. This is a tricky task to do because most of us have been raised, and I've been raised with the approach, every challenge we can solve, right? And like any habit, it requires practice. Mindfulness requires practice, and I practice it every single day. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I'm giving myself grace and compassion all the time. But here's the thing, if you're multitasking, come back to me. You need the full capacity of your brain pointed at the things that are most important for your launch. If you're in overwhelm, you're really not getting hardly anything done. And there are some simple ways to counteract overwhelm and that you can launch your next coaching program mindfully. So one of the main things you need to do is you need to grab a big old notebook, okay, like big school time notebook, and you need to first give yourself a hug, put your hand on your heart, whatever helps to connect you with compassion and with love as you witness this experience of overwhelm. You are now going to take out a pen with your big notebook, and you're going to dump out every concern, every worry, every false story, every to-do item, everything that you are thinking about. If you are watching this on the replay, or if you're watching this as a repeat to do this, please pause here and actually take a timer for at least 10 minutes and write everything out. It may be pages long, and that is okay. And it might feel like, okay, you're telling me to do something extra. It might sound counterintuitive, but you need to give this a try, okay? So when you are done, you're going to take that pen and you're going to cross off all the worries that you can't do anything about, all the things that you cannot control. I have some worries about my oldest daughter with her health. I have some worries about the college. She hasn't, done her dorm schedule yet, put things in, but that's not even in my control. So we need to let things go that we can't do anything about, right? And a lot of times when we have worries are things out of our control. So give me a yes in the comments. Do you ever worry about things that you can't even do anything about? Right now, we can't, with the pandemic, there's so many things that we cannot control, but there are many things that we can control during this, right? And we have to focus on those things. So I used to think like, oh yes, when I'm worrying, I'm productive. Like worrying is necessary. It shows I care about other people. No, it just takes away our present moment. It takes us away from being mindful, and it fills our brain. When we fill our brain, we're overwhelmed. So what are these false stories that you are telling yourself that can just get out? It's just garbage, that nobody is going to buy my program. I'm not good enough. Are my dates going to be okay? Well, you're never going to have perfect dates. Okay. It's okay. I remember thinking like, I should be able to handle all of this. I have to do everything perfect for my first launch, or I'm not going to do anything at all. This all or nothing does not work. If this is your first time doing a launch of maybe a group detox, or you're doing a webinar to promote some more workshops, to do group coaching, to do individual coaching, just think about the first time a half launch. Like you just do 50% of the things, okay? So because what happens is that when we do things like a group detox, a group workshop series, these are all repeat and refine things. So we do it, and then 3 months later, we do it again. But guess what? This next time, we already have a lot of things figured out. We've already learned so many new things, and learning new things is overwhelming. That's the state of mind. We just have to write down one thing at a time. Every time we repeat, we refine it. Again, we repeat and refine, and we don't quit. Always think about, I'm doing this for the first time. I'm going to be doing this a second, a third, and a fourth time. You might be thinking all the bad things that have happened in the past. The past absolutely does not dictate our future. We have control to change at any time. So when you look at that big long list, so you have everything listed. You've crossed out all the things that you can't do anything about. And now I want you to see like the false stories, cross out all of those, okay? They're just garbage. You need to detox not just your body, but your brain, your thoughts. It's so important to have these healthy thoughts, because those are going to help us move forward instead of keep us stuck. How do you feel when you're saying, I'm not good enough? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know enough. That's not open and receiving and helping us with our decisions. It's contracting and making it harder. So see what you can delegate now on this list. Can you carpool with other families? Can your spouse, can your kids, your family help you with some meals? Maybe you do takeout. I always like before my launches, because I like to eat whole foods and I'm the main chef here, and I'm sure most of you are the same way. I don't just make double recipes like I always do. I make triple recipes and I put them in my freezer so that when I am launching a group program, when I'm actually maybe doing a detox with everyone, because I do everything with my group. I have things already done, so I'm not having to worry about, I need to go to the store. We know how long it can take to do those kind of errands. What can you delegate? Can you do online ordering? Remember, every time you say yes to somebody else to help them, that means you're saying no to something for yourself. And for me, what I noticed, what was going on when I would say yes to volunteering, yes to doing helping other people, the no part was a lot of times in my self-care, I was saying no to a yoga class, a walk in nature, or I was saying no to doing something in my business. So I really am selective of where I put my energy when I help other people, because I love helping other people. And I know so many health coaches are in the same boat as me, that it is actually easier to help other people with their own crap, right? Than to focus on ourselves. So we are helpers, and that is a distraction, my friends. So if you're multitasking, come back to me. It is a distraction when we are always focusing on other people. So we need to focus on ourselves and the growth of our business so we can help other people. It's selfish if we stay small, if we don't put ourselves out there, because people are waiting for us to put ourselves out there so they can find us. So don't spread yourself too thin, please, because then what happens when I spread myself too thin, I go back into my old pattern of multitasking, which this is multitasking sometimes to non-productivity. So we need to say no to some things to maximize our time. So what is not critical? What is not critical on your list that you can dump? Okay. Now I want you to take out a highlighter, and I want you to highlight 3 of the most important tasks. I'm not saying the most urgent. I'm saying the most important tasks that are going to actually move your business forward. So something that's going to help you with your launch. And then this is where a lot of people get mixed up. You have those 3 things. Now take those 3 things and break them down into clear and concrete steps. Because sometimes those 3 things, you're like, oh my gosh, those 3 things are still big. Write my webinar, write my launch webinar, my workshop. Go back to a workshop I did 2 weeks ago. It's easy to outline a webinar. You do my Post-it note, challenge. It's easy to do some things. We just say it's hard, right? So then you can break it down into easy, manageable steps. So now you have a clear head and you can focus on what tasks you need to get done. So progress happens just little by little. And I need you to hear this. You just need to start by doing one thing. One thing. When we start that one thing, it goes to more things, right? With my health coaching clients, a lot of people for their goal, and including myself, I have a goal, walk 15 minutes outside every day. Do you think I walk more than 15 minutes? Of course, because you get outside, even if it's not good weather, you had to still bundle up for 15 minutes, and usually I walk for an hour. But once we start, we a lot of times have that momentum to keep going. So there's so much power in just doing that one thing. And I've heard recently a research study, and I don't know where this came from because I heard it from somebody else, but that the hardest part of a launch is usually the first 1% and then the last 10%. So we don't want to get stopped in that first 1%, right? We just need to start. And I believe that because I feel that I've heard that so many times from other people that we get more frantic at the beginning and at the end. So when you have all the things you need to get done, you need to do something with all the other things on the list. And that is to create a roadmap, a plan. So we need to be present to what comes up on the roadmap, what is reasonable for you to get done for that first or second launch, wherever you are. If you love to procrastinate, and friends, I know a lot of you have done this, when you avoid doing new things, you absolutely need to create a plan. It's just like when you meal prep. I'm doing the Whole30. I think I'm on day 23 of my Whole30. I am planning like crazy every week on the chalkboard. Every meal is listed, going to the grocery store with exactly what we're going to make. So we are all a success in the house, right? It's the same thing that when we plan with our workday, with our launches, it's going to be better than going, what's for dinner? What am I going to do today at work? So think about giving this roadmap your full love, your full attention, I should say all of your love, right? Because work is an expression of love and money is like this wonderful byproduct of it. So your work is an expression of what's in your heart, and you want people to see that instead of the worry. And the reason why people buy your program is because they see your authenticity. They see that you're coming from this beautiful place, that you can help them solve their problem. So if you're doing what you believe in and you love, and if there's a match between what you're creating and what they need, that problem solved, they are absolutely going to pay you for your program, right? So just know, like, we don't have to worry about the future because we already came up with a roadmap for success. So in that effort of acknowledging like that what is, right? We're trying to fix it without trying to fix it or change it. We're creating space. We're creating space between the self that is experiencing that fullness, that experiencing that overwhelm, and that self that is witnessing our experience of being overwhelmed. And that latter self, that's the one we want to get to know, and you want your future clients to get to know, right? So we need to befriend that person that can just step back and just be love, right? We need to be non-judgmental about ourselves, observe what's happening. We are no longer caught up in our experiences. When we're when we're overwhelmed, just observe it from a calm, objective distance. And so when we're creating this new, lovely, beautiful space, what happens? We gain this new perspective, we have focus. We may even begin to see new possibilities and opportunities for making better choices, right? When we are overwhelmed, I hear people still trying to make a decision 3 weeks later. And so I'm always like, 24 hours. If it's a minor decision, give yourself 24 hours, but come to a place that is calm so you can make the best decision. And by the way, every decision you make is perfect for that moment. Even if it's the wrong decision, you're going to learn more. And so when you have your roadmap at the end of each day, reflect on how each day went. And you may need to reevaluate each day and mindfully schedule the next day with your roadmap as your guide. So you know when you wake up in the morning exactly what you need to get going, and not, oh, what do I need to work on? So just shift and alter as you go, and just alter as necessary. The roadmap now, think about it. It's already been taken care of. You've done it with care. So you don't have to worry. You can just focus on doing the work. It's just like meal prepping. You just have to focus on cooking the meals then, right? Just doing what you already planned out. So once you have, you've done the brain dump, you are doing the full plan, the roadmap, you then need to give each task your full love and attention. So focus on the how. So if we're feeling stressed, we're feeling overwhelmed, instead of focusing, and I know I've done this and a lot of people have done this, instead of focusing on how much we have to do, just focus on, okay, how do I need to get this one task done? Again, break it down, do one thing at a time, giving it your full love. Once that one task is complete, do not go to Facebook, do not go to your text messages until that task is complete. Then you move on to the next thing. People get frustrated by me that I don't look at my phone for hours. I need to do that so I can stay focused. So whatever we're doing it mindfully, and we're doing it with all of our attention. No rushing, just have faith that it's all going to be okay. It's not urgent. We're not desperate. We're just focused on one important task. And we got that, right? And when we talk about making these decisions, know that and accept that mistakes and failures are part of running a business. That even if your roadmap is a little flawed or miscalculated, it takes courage to launch a program. Feel grateful for that, for putting yourself out there, and it takes a leap of faith. But just know that there's going to be failures that are going to happen. So instead of thinking about them and stressing about them, just think about them as, I think my failures as information. Oh, I'm learning something more. Oh, that didn't work. I'm not going to do that again. That was really great that I was able to try something and see what it worked. So hardly anyone has the courage to be an entrepreneur, right? So why worry about failures? Because they're going to happen. So they're just opportunities for us to learn and for us to grow. So just see them as you revise your roadmap. And so often I think about, you have to just work so much harder and then you get your stuff done. But no, it is absolutely come back to me. It's about working smarter and from the heart. That's why like I love buying done for you programs. That's why I have my done for you wellness workshops and my academy to teach everybody the roadmap, right? That's a great example of working smarter. My goodness, I worked over a year just trying to figure out the success of workshops, right? So, and switching that mindset also of I'll be a success when I have 50 people in my detox. I'll be a success when I have at least 10 health coaching clients. Just decide today, and I want you to feel how this feels in your body, your energy, that you already are a successful health coach. How does that feel? And how will your decisions feel different knowing that you are enough and that you are a success? You may be scared, and that's okay. I'm scared all the time. I'm constantly doing new things, putting myself out there, and that's okay. We just have to start. And then when we put that action out there, that grows our confidence, right? So no more, you're going to see a lot of things that you might have to do in a day. And when that happens, just think about the most important thing, that one thing. One thing I have learned so many times, and I am still learning this lesson and I'm getting better at it, but to schedule life happens in your roadmap. All of a sudden, oh, there's something with the kids that we didn't know about, or whatever it is. I need to run out and get something. So there's things that life just happens, which then all of a sudden that one extra thing just takes on a whole nother level. So we sometimes will set ourselves for failure if we scheduled way too much, right? If we go one thing at the next. So what can you realistically do now, between now and between whatever your deadline is? What else do I need to account for? My family, is it going to be so tight? Can you schedule every day an extra hour? And what I love is when I have that extra hour, I'm like, hey, it's 3 o'clock. I'm just going to go out for an hour hike. Right? I'm going to take an extra yoga class. I'm going to do a longer meditation or do some breath work. So we all know, and if you weren't health coaches, I would be talking a lot more about self-care right now, but I know you understand that journaling, meditation, yoga, walks in nature, talking with friends is imperative for your preventative care for stress, right? So we can always learn. We're always going to repeat, refine, and do better next time. So we just come back to taking that breath and think about what can I reasonably do today? And I love every day I've been saying the prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, which is like not enough hours, right? The courage to do what I can, to do number 1, 2, maybe on my list, maybe number 3, and the wisdom to know the difference. I can't get number 3 done and still have a good night's sleep. Right? So you might get it done, but at what cost? You might get headaches. So in the spirit of having a mindful launch, think about where do you need to make changes? What actions can you put forward? So I want to hear from you in the comments, what is one thing that you can do differently to be more mindful and to reduce and eliminate your overwhelm? Is it doing your brain dumps every day or once a week? Is it coming up with your roadmap, your plan? Is it reevaluating? Is it coming up with your top 1 to 3 most important tasks? And of course, it's always about seeking support too. That's why in Workshops Done Academy, we have these weekly live group coaching calls. And yesterday, oh my goodness, it was Stephanie, if you're still on, I saw you were on earlier, that it's wonderful to hear when you're stuck and talking through all the steps to get unstuck. That sometimes those 1 to 3 important tasks, it's hard for you to see. And so to see yourself with somebody else. So if you want some more help to get set up for success, I do have a free course for health coaches for goal setting for the next 12 months. So when we do our roadmap, we can narrow it down to the first, couple months that we're doing, and then we're doing the first, the next 12 months. So I'm just going to post it into the Facebook group, and I'm posting it into the Zoom call here. And we're going to come back and see all the different chats and the questions and different things like that. All right. So yeah, so Diane says, yeah, great suggestions about batch cooking. Yeah, absolutely. I made the biggest batch of chicken detox soup, and it was so big that I need to have 2 big pans on the stove. But it's been wonderful this last week, just having every day to having that meal done. Yeah, Stephanie saying, yeah, she's still here, definitely doing the roadmap. 1 to 3 important tasks and then the roadmap. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just going to come back because I know that there's a lot of comments on Facebook as well. Okay. Oh, Stephanie saying, which one is best to join, Zoom or Facebook? I always like Zoom best because there's more interaction, but you can do whichever one you want. Hello, Joanne. Hello, Erica. Yeah, you know, like Stephanie was saying, she feels anxious when she's in overwhelm, self-doubt, irritated, just stuck. Erica was saying she feels depressed when overwhelmed and she stops everything and backtracks. Yeah, so Erica, like, how does that make you move forward in your business? Right? This is not an option to feel this overwhelm, because when we do this, we're not being our authentic selves to put the best foot forward in our launches and to go out there. Donna says, I'm so freaking stuck. I'm making a program for my niche, anxiety and stress. Okay, so Donna, let's talk, because maybe you just need, again, that first step to do something. She goes, I need to get going already. And actually, let me just post, I'm going to put, for any new coaches who have never met with me, just meet. I always like to have like one free like breakthrough session. So I'm just going to grab the link here and I'm going to put it in here. So come in and schedule, oh, that link didn't work, and schedule a free call with me so that you can just get that first step going. But it's so nice to have these breakthrough calls, to brain dump to somebody else, and then for someone to hear what you're actually saying, right? It's just like with health coaching. Is there not a go-to list of information? Let me know what you mean. I thought you were at first saying like there's not a piece of paper long enough for all my lists. So yeah, so Joanne, that's a great concern. She won't be able to see the proper boundaries. Yeah, so when we first start, we are going to have mistakes and failures, and guess what? Those boundaries are going to be showing. But we need to go ahead and do that so that we can understand and learn what those boundaries are. Because for me, volunteering has been such a big part of my life. And it was hard at first to see that boundary of saying no to certain things. And now for me, it's like, okay, if the volunteer activities include seeing my kids or being with them, you know, those are going to be easier yeses, right? So, so yeah, how to set those up. Let's see. I'm more stuck on all the technical stuff. I just don't know computer things, good enough programs. Okay. So the main thing with technology, because, oh my goodness, I completely hear you. You need to get a virtual assistant, because I am thinking, I'm not in the computer world. I know enough to do what I need to get done. And then I hire the rest out. And when I first started, I thought, oh my goodness, I cannot afford a virtual assistant. And how do I find one? Well, I asked around. I have recommendations. So, you know, reach out to me. I can definitely help you out with what you actually need. But I love when I give my website guy, the copy for my landing page, all the stuff, and I say, hey, here's all the info. And then about an hour later, he has it all done. And I'm thinking, that cost me $40. He's my highest paid one, to get it all set and beautiful. And that would have taken me probably 4 to 5 hours, right? So this is not your genius zone. We need to stay in our genius zone. That's where we're going to have more profit and more impact. So we need to think about where can we delegate and or hire out. So Donna, how do we create programs? 2 weeks ago, I did a mini workshop like this about how to outline a new workshop. That same format would work for how to outline a new program. So it just goes a little bit deeper, but you're trying to create a 6-month program. So yeah, so Donna, yeah, definitely set up a time with me so we can talk and we can just talk it out a little bit more. But when I do my programs, it's a little bit of like I have a group detox program. I take a little bit of that into it. I take a little bit from my individual coaching. But when you do a group program, you need to give a lot of time to asking the right questions of them and letting them have time to share and having action steps for them. So thinking about what's the results of your program and what are all the steps that they need to do to get there. So I like to think about me just talking to one person, a future client, and what would I need to be asking them? What would I need them to do to get to that program? So I hope that that makes sense. Okay, she's saying gotcha. Yeah, so I am so glad you guys are here. And I know that I went extra, this is a double long one. I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to do this in 20 minutes. So thank you so much for sticking with me. Yeah, so Stephanie's just asking about virtual assistants. Yeah, so I have Corey is my virtual assistant, but he is like he's an expert at websites and he works super quick. So that's wonderful. Then I have a virtual assistant that's in the Philippines who is a lot less expensive and is just starting with me and doing some social media. So you may have seen some little mistakes this last week with social media, but we're figuring things out. And then I have some others that just do little projects here and there, like editing and things like that. So I have a whole workshop like this on how to find a virtual assistant. So definitely go to that. And when you're coming into the Facebook group, you can always go under guides, and that's how you can find all the past ones. And I'm also going to put a link in here because I have most of them on my website as well. So let me just put this in the link, but it's workshopsdone.com/video. So then you can see some of the past ones that are there as well. But thank you guys so much. And when you are here, I really appreciate the energy and moving forward. And I look forward to seeing you. I am here every single Wednesday at noon Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern time. And the ideas of what I talk about come from you. This workshop today was inspired by a health coach that I was talking to. She's actually a naturopathic doctor a couple weeks ago, and she was into overwhelm and all the things that we needed to brain dump and step back and focus on the most important things, right? And go forward in that way. So thank you all so much and wishing you a beautiful day, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.